And welcome to the April 2nd, 2025 Penfield Town Board Legislative Meeting. Councilman Ockenden, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will the clerk please read the roll? Call the roll.
Barry.
Here.
Lee. Here. Leenhouts.
Here.
Ockenden.
Here.
Teglash. Here.
Great. Before we get started, we're going to celebrate a few guests that are here, and we'll start with our certificate for our wrestling state champion, Zane Kropman. I hope I pronounced that right. And Amy. So while you come up, I'll come join you in a minute. If you can read the proclamation, and then I'll hand it to you, and we'll do some pictures if that's cool, and get the town board up. So, go ahead.
Okay. So, state champ honoring wrestling state champion Zane Kropman. Whereas Penfield High School wrestler Zane Kropman captured the 2025 New York State Division State Championship in the 190-pound weight class, and whereas Zane displayed incredible grit, toughness, and skill to capture the title, and whereas throughout the season, Zane battled injuries, not taking the mat until January, and whereas he finished the season with an impressive undefeated record of 11-0, and whereas this is Zane's second state tournament appearance after making it his sophomore year, and now, be it resolved, the Penfield Town Board is privileged to honor Zane's success on behalf of the Penfield community. The Town Board congratulates Zane on an incredible season and representing the Penfield community with class.
All right, maybe we just stay up here and you can read the next problem.
Okay. I'll stand up this time. Okay, this is for the sectional champ celebrating the PHS varsity basketball team. Why don't you come on up?
You guys can all be in the front because I think we're all tall enough.
Oh, we're doing a picture first.
We'll wait and do it.
We're going to read it.
Yeah, read it and then we'll take care of the photo.
Okay. Sectional champ celebrating the Penfield High School varsity basketball team. Whereas the Penfield High School varsity boys basketball team won the 2025 Section 5 Class AA1 title with a 71-44 victory over Webster Thomas, and whereas the victory signified the first sectional title for the team in over 70 years, and whereas the team had an incredible run throughout the season, including garnering the top seed in Class AA1, and whereas the team ended the season with an impressive win total of 20, and whereas the hard work and dedication of this group was on full display on and off the court, and now be it resolved, on behalf of the Penfield community, the Penfield Town Board is honored to recognize this incredible incredible group of student athletes. The town board extends its congratulations and thanks the team for representing the town of Penfield well.
So if everyone can just take like, can you get a tad bit closer? Sorry. It'll be fast, I promise. All right, that's good, thank you. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, and perfect. Wait, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move. Oh, sorry, we've got one more. One more picture. I'll set you up.
Coaches too.
I suddenly feel very short. It's okay. Okay. So next on the agenda is communications and, well, I'll let them get out of here, sorry. Bye, everybody. Drive safe. All right, so next on the agenda is communication and announcements, and I'll start with Linda Teglash. Councilwoman Teglash, please.
We are hiring. Summer is just around the corner, and Penfield Recreation is hiring enthusiastic team members for several important positions. If you're seeking a rewarding summer job, openings are available for summer camp counselors, swim instructors, and certified lifeguards. Interested candidates can apply online at penfield.org/employment. If you have any questions or need more information, please feel to reach us at 585-340-8655. And for anyone coming home from college, if you have students coming home from college, great opportunity, great summer job for them. Good people to work for, too. The Drive Electric Earth Day annual event in Penfield will be held on April 26 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Penfield Community Center. Come and meet private owners, dealers, and New York State Electric Auto Association members as they feature a wide variety of electric vehicles. Those interested in displaying their EV as part of the show can register at driveelectricearthmonth.org. That's all one long word, driveelectricearthmonth.org. Additional information is available on the town's website, penfield.org events.
Thanks, Linda. Councilman Ockenden, please. Bob.
Thank you, and to tag on to Linda's last announcement there, also on Saturday, April 26th, from 10 a.m. till noon will be the Arbor Day celebration, native tree giveaway. Join the town of Penfield for an Arbor Day celebration recognizing native trees, plants, and pollinators. Everyone is invited to attend for a free native tree giveaway. Available trees include the eastern redbud, red maple, and white spruce. The giveaway is first come, first served, and will continue while supplies last. You don't need to register in advance for this. This Arbor Day celebration will be vital in advancing the town of Penfield's pursuit of recognition as a Tree City USA community. Established by the Arbor Day Foundation in 1976, the Tree City USA program aims to foster greener and healthier communities throughout the United States. This event is being sponsored by the town's Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee. And secondly, Saturday brush drop-off will be April 12th from 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. This will be for Penfield residents only. Accepted will be branches, shrubs, etc. This is going to be at the Gloria Drive location, and this will be approximately 1/4 mile north of Penfield Road off of Gloria Drive, if you're not familiar with it. No other yard waste such as leaves or grass are permitted to be dropped off. There's more information on the town's website for this. And just a side note, the Gloria Drive site is open now Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So this announcement is for a Saturday special event on April 12th.
Thanks, Bob. Councilwoman Lee, please. Candace.
The town is hosting the 11th annual Terry Rothfuss Memorial Good Neighbor Day on Saturday, April 26th from 8:30 to 12 p.m. We're seeking volunteers of all ages to help older adults, veterans, or those who are disabled to do light yard work and spring cleanup. It's a great way to give back to our community and meet new people. If you or someone you know needs help with their yard work for this Good Neighbor Day, we'd like to volunteer for you. Please email our, I'm sorry, I forgot Sabrina's actual title, Department.
Assistant Director of
Okay, never mind.
Recreation.
Please email Sabrina Renner. Sabrina Renner at srenner@penfield.org or call 585-340-8655. You can check more on our website to learn more as well. See, I'm so used to calling people like boss, big boss, small boss, that I forget their actual titles.
All right, Councilman Berry, please.
Attention teachers and students of Penfield, it's time to begin writing for the Town of Penfield's annual Memorial Day essay contest. The essay topic is America Today Our Forefathers' Vision? Students in grades 6 through 8 attending Penfield schools or residing in Penfield are invited to enter the contest. The top 3 participants will each earn cash awards. Along with their monetary prize, the 3 winners will present their works at the Town of Penfield Memorial Day Ceremony of Remembrance on Monday, May 26, held at Veterans Memorial Park. You can find the submission details and entry forms at www.penfield.org/Memorial Day. Please remember that the entry deadline is May 2nd. This essay contest is sponsored by the Town of Penfield and supported by the American Legion Bremen Post 1229. Visit penfield.org/events for entry forms or call 585-340-8651. And now I have a reminder from the Penfield Transportation Committee. As the weather warms up and spring is in full swing, it's important for both walkers and drivers to use caution and share the road. Whether you're walking or driving, being aware of your surroundings and following safety guidelines is crucial. For pedestrians, please unplug and avoid distractions while walking. Always make eye contact with drivers before crossing the road and do not start crossing until traffic has come to a complete stop. When walking at night, wear bright and reflective clothing to increase your visibility to drivers. Always use crosswalks and intersections when crossing the road and never jaywalk. Stay alert as you cross intersections and watch for turning vehicles. For drivers, be especially cautious and watch for pedestrians, especially in busy areas. Follow all traffic laws and be prepared to stop at crosswalks and intersections. Always give pedestrians the right of way, allowing them to cross the road safely. Let's work together to ensure a safe and enjoyable spring season for everyone. And remember, caution and awareness are key when sharing the road.
Thanks, Kevin. So I have one. Come join the Shepherd Homes 20th anniversary, wow, 20 years, Spring Gala fundraiser. It's May 2nd at 6 p.m. It's at Castle Larga this year, Castle Larga Vineyard. You can visit shepherdhome.org for all the details and more information. Okay. So next item on the agenda, yeah.
I seem to have 2
Oh,
announcements.
yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Attention nature lovers, don't miss out on an upcoming guide hike at the Thousand Acre Swamp led by the Penfield Trails Committee. On April 12th at 10 a.m., explore the beautiful woods, meadows, and ponds, and learn about spring nature and animal science from our knowledgeable guide. This event is free, but registration is required. Please visit Penfield Recreation's website at www.penfield.org/hike or call 585-340-8655 to reserve your spot today. Meet at the Thousand Acre parking area driveway just past Penfield Ambulance Base. Look for the hike signs. And this is just a reminder to residents, open burning is prohibited in the town of Penfield. This includes leaves, brush, construction debris, garbage, and rubbish. Recreational fires are permitted, but must only burn clean, seasoned firewood and be attended for recreational purposes only. Please keep the fire at least 3 feet in diameter and 2 feet in height. Remember, there is an increased risk of wildland fires this time of year. For more information, contact the town's fire marshal or visit www.penfield.org/safety. Stay safe and comply with the rules during the spring and summer seasons.
Thanks, Amy. You were first on the list. I just blew right through you, sorry.
That's okay.
All right. Next item is public participation. So we'll start with people that have signed up, or I don't know if anyone submitted anything.
Well, I did get something that was submitted, and would you like me to read that now?
Sure.
Okay. So this is from Bob Duffy, the President and CEO of the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce. Dear Penfield Planning Board, on behalf of Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce, I am writing to express strong support for the proposed Chick-fil-A development at 2051 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road. This project aligns with the town's established land use policies and economic development objectives, reinforcing Penfield's commitment to structured, sustainable growth while expanding its commercial tax base. Penfield's economic success is the direct result of a strategic and well-regulated approach to development. The town's overlay district is a key planning mechanism that facilitates responsible commercial expansion, ensuring that new businesses integrate seamlessly with existing infrastructure while maintaining the character of the community. This project is a textbook example of how the overlay district fosters high-quality development that contributes to economic vitality. From a fiscal perspective, the benefits of this project are substantial. The development is projected to generate 100 to 125 new jobs, directly enhancing local employment opportunities. Additionally, the increase in assessed property value and associated tax revenue will provide long-term financial benefits to the town, helping to support essential municipal services and infrastructure maintenance. The site plan also incorporates several key traffic and pedestrian safety improvements, including a widened drive-through lane, a new traffic signal, and enhanced pedestrian access through the addition of a crosswalk, each of which directly aligns with the best practices in commercial site planning. The continued growth of this corridor underscores Penfield's ability to attract and sustain high-value commercial investments through sound zoning policies and economic foresight. Approving this development would further cement Penfield's position as a leader in structured pro-business development within the greater Rochester region. We encourage the Planning Board to advance this proposal, recognizing its positive economic, infrastructural, and community benefits. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to seeing this development contribute to Penfield's continued prosperity. And as I said, this is Bob Duffy who sent this, President and CEO of Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce.
Rochester, not Penfield Chamber of Commerce, right?
It is the Rochester
Okay.
Chamber of Commerce, but Penfield is part of it.
Gotcha.
Is there any emails? Yeah.
Greater Rochester.
Any emails or anything else that you received?
No, I just have people signed up.
Okay. And Brian, I don't see anybody that called in, just to kind of get through. Is that correct?
Correct. There's one online submission, but no calls.
Okay. So Kim DeRosa wrote, this is why I brought my glasses. Don't laugh, Candace. Thank you for economic development pause and congratulations on Tree City, USA. Okay. So I'll turn it over to you, Amy, if you want to go through the list of who signed up.
So the first speakers would like to go together, and that is Megan Meyer and Jill Carter.
Okay. How you both doing? Good.
Hi, Megan Meyer, 61 Henderson Drive here in Penfield. I co-lead Healthy Yards Monroe County, which is a resident-led organization and part of your Color Your Communities Green. I also co-lead Color Penfield Green and their Healthy Yards Penfield campaign. I'd like to compliment our town for their hard work on attaining Tree City USA designation, along with your continued support for the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. These programs show our town's strong support for the environment on town property, which benefits the health not only of our residents, but also our pollinators and birds. We, Color Penfield Green, would like to collaborate with our town to roll out a Penfield pollinator pathway. Actually, it's a pollinator pathway challenge, like the town of Pittsford and Brighton have done with their Color Your Community Green groups. A town pollinator pathway challenge is designed to educate and inspire residents to take action to support pollinators and birds in their yard. As I've shared with you in a previous letter, our Color Penfield Green residents work tirelessly behind the scenes to support our town's habitat enhancement endeavors. As we collaborate with town sustainability engineer Sarah Waterman, Penfield Rec Director Andrew Urquhart, and Recreation Supervisor Sabrina Renner. Also, our Town Parks Foreman Tim Masterton and Adult Services Librarian Peggy O'Neill at the Penfield Library, and where we provide educational programming that fulfill the actions of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. And also, we've added and maintained several native plant gardens on town property, and for the past 4 years have offered these educational classes to our residents through our library and rec program on habitat enhancement for their yards. We offer native plants also for residents at our Penfield Community Victory Gardens May Plant Sale. And these actions not only support the monarch butterfly, but all of our native pollinators and birds. Entomologist and wildlife ecologist Doug Tallamy explains that we have drastically reduced natural places that support the life forms that support us. Our native insects and birds have been in steep decline over the last 50 years as a result. The population of the U.S., now over 330 million people, has more than doubled since many of us were kids. It continues to grow by 48,000 people each day. All of these additional people and the sprawl, all of these additional people and our quest to own even larger homes have fueled unprecedented development that continues to sprawl over 2 million additional acres per year. The conversion of our living and working spaces into huge expanses of lawn has not helped. Tallamy tells us that native plants have co-evolved with our native insects and birds, and studies indicate that native plants are their preferred food source. The solution is to reimagine our lawns and yards. Tallamy calls this Homegrown National Park. Homegrown National Park encourages residents to choose native plants over non-natives for their yards, and a town pollinator pathway challenge educates and encourages residents to do the same. The towns of Pittsford and Brighton recognize the importance of this and have collaborated with their local Color Your Community Green groups to educate residents as they start their own town pollinator pathway challenges. It is a voluntary program that challenges and educates residents on steps they can take that will benefit our pollinators and birds while also creating healthier environments for families. Color Penfield Green is ready to collaborate with our town to start a Penfield pollinator pathway. Our parent organization, Climate Solutions Accelerator, has granted Color Penfield Green a $500 grant, which would offset the cost of the first round of resident signs should the town feel this is a worthy endeavor.
That was right on the dot. And just as a reminder, sorry, that everybody gets 5 minutes. We're just being consistent, and that was perfect. But go ahead and just mention your name, address when you come up if you didn't already. Maybe I missed it. Thank you.
Yes, hi, my name is Jill Carter. I'm at 48 Canterbury Trail. I'm a member of Color Penfield Green and Healthy Yards Penfield. I'm a master naturalist, have a native plant certificate, and participate in the Finger Lakes Prism Invasive Species Monitoring Program. I grew up here in Penfield and moved back a few years ago with my husband and 2 boys, and I'd like to illustrate what the Penfield Pollinator Pathway Challenge by describing what we've done in our yard. So we bought our house in Penfield in 2022. The first year we spent our time removing invasive species and overgrown weeds from our front foundation area. We replaced the invasives with native shrubs that provide shelter and berries for birds. In subsequent years, we've added many flowering native perennials. These flowers provide attractive seasonal interest as well as food and shelter for pollinators. We still have a large lawn area that we mow, but choose to keep pesticide-free for the pollinators, but also the health and safety of our young children and dog. In our backyard, under the existing mature trees, we again have removed invasives and planted native understory trees, shrubs, and woodland plants. In the fall, we rake leaves into this area as part of the Leave the Leaves campaign. We have a vegetable garden, compost bins, and wildflower and milkweed area. We also have bird baths and a small water garden to provide water sources. All our native plants have been sourced locally, purchased from local nurseries, native plant sale, then Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation Sale, and even one last year I got at the Town of Penfield's Arbor Day native shrub giveaway. Native plants are suited to the environment here, so they are long-lived and easy to maintain. They provide the food, nectar, and shelter for our pollinators and wildlife, but also appeal to our senses and help beautify our neighborhoods and town. Native plants are becoming popular in public gardens across the state and nationwide, including Cornell University, Geneseo, and the New York Botanical Garden. Residents can take inspiration from these large public gardens and our local parks to bring home to our own yards. We receive lots of compliments on the makeover we've done in our yard from neighbors walking by. And I'd just like to get across the point that it's easy to make swaps, simple swaps in traditional landscaping to include native trees, shrubs, and flowers that support our native pollinators. So I brought the Pittsburgh Pollinator Pathway Challenge submission form that I filled out for my yard as like an example. They have this form that you just fill out. You're supposed to get about, I believe it's 10 native plants, which could be trees, shrubs, native perennials from different seasons. And then they have Step 2 is water sources, Step 3 is shelter, and Step 4 is to avoid pesticides. So they have their residents fill this form out, submit it, and then they get the sign, which we brought a sign. That then you can post in your yard and help, spread the word. So this program will fulfill some of the mayor's Monarch Pledge action items. Number 2, which is launch or maintain a public communication effort to encourage residents to plant monarch gardens at their homes or in their neighborhoods. Number 17, host or support a monarch neighborhood challenge to engage neighborhoods and homeowners associations within the community to increase awareness, support community unity around a common mission, and or create habitat for the monarch butterfly. And number 28, reduce or eliminate the use of herbicides, pesticides, and other chemicals that are harmful to monarchs and pollinators and urban wildlife. So the support we would like from the town with the Penfield Pollinator Pathway Challenge would be, number 1, to create a webpage for the Penfield Pollinator Pathway Challenge, as the other towns have done on the town site. Number 2, to provide copies of action lists, which I held up here, for residents to take and submit to the town. Number 3, to designate a town department that will collect the resident applications and hand out the signs. And number 4, to front the cost of signs once our grant money has been used to continue the program.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a couple questions. So I couldn't
sorry.
tell from the town websites. It looks like Pittsford, they launched in 2023, end of, right, Q4. And Brighton, it looks like it's ongoing. Do you know if it's ongoing in Pittsford?
Brighton and Pittsford is
Is it,
ongoing.
oh, it's both. Okay, so maybe just their website is a little bit outdated. It doesn't have like the updated year after year. I'm just wondering if the maintenance costs, I'm just trying to get an idea of
Yeah, I spoke
implementation costs.
with Jess Neal in Pittsburgh. She doesn't directly run the program, but I just kind of asked her some questions about it and like how many residents, and she said since 2023, they've had about 70 residents sign up.
I also have, and I'll leave this with you, Amy, the contact people who are in charge of the Penfield, or the Pittsford and the Brighton Pollinator Pathways, who are part of the town, their towns.
Thank you.
Young ladies, I'll take anything you want to give me for the minutes, for the record.
Thank you.
All right, Amy, who's next,
Okay,
please?
we have Laura Payne Forsey.
Thank you.
How you doing, Laura?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Laura Payne Borsey, and I am the Vice President of Preserve Penfield, and I live at 8 Parham Drive. First, I want to acknowledge I'm a bit confused by the note we got from Mr. Duffy, considering that we understand that decision to live with the ZBA. And I thought it my responsibility to come here tonight and help you understand as town board members the slippery slope we're walking. At the last ZBA meeting, it was noted that the ZBA asked for an interpretation of an overlay restriction and found that an obscure element of code could be used. But in doing that, the town had to claim that the development made the area safer. I want to thank Board Member Barry for being there and asking questions. Thank you. I'm confident he can give you more context. But in a nutshell, your constituents are being asked to accept that installing the most intense fast food drive-through operation in the industry, 200 meters from 441 and 250, and 100 meters from Pembroke Drive's egress to 250, makes the area safer. First, you should know that town employees somehow accepted a traffic study that ignored the most dangerous intersection in our community. I'm fairly confident Mr. Duffy isn't aware of that. Second, you should know that residents were told that the town, and this is a direct quote, doesn't have to look at the egress for the entire Pembroke neighborhood, less than 100 meters away. It doesn't have to look at the implications for Penfair Office Park, a child care center, an elder care facility, or a neighborhood of more than 600 discrete residences. We're being asked to accept that solving one safety problem that BNL's own traffic study puts right at the foot of putting the Chick-fil-A in, that being the need for the traffic light, but now creates two other critical points of safety, that makes sense. It's simply not credible. You're all intelligent, civic-minded people. The claim that this project will make the neighborhood safer is a misrepresentation of code. It's a stretch of logic that doesn't stand up to common sense or public experience. It's the kind of stretch of logic that, quite frankly, leads to litigation when after the fact it is found out that fire trucks can't navigate a plaza, which happened to our neighbors in Irondequoit. Let me be clear. If this developer had purchased the adjacent parcel and aligned the traffic signal to Pembroke Drive, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be pushing on this, and we wouldn't be pushing on your ZBA. We wouldn't be here if that developer had committed to building a new access road behind Pembroke Meadows and obtained the necessary easements. And we wouldn't be here if they proposed any plan that safely addressed the needs of the 600 households and businesses that rely on Pembroke Drive. But that's not the plan that sits before your ZBA, nor the plan that the former lieutenant governor was asked to endorse. Let's just think about the logic behind telling employees, telling residents that they are not required to look at the egress from Pembroke. I'm not required to look both ways when I cross the road, but it sure as heck is smart. I've been told, me personally, sitting down with another employee in this community, in this town, paid by our tax dollars, that families, workers, and seniors should snake through multiple private parking lots to reach the new safe signal. Imagine explaining that to a parent dropping off a child at daycare, a nurse heading to work at Elderwood, or someone visiting a loved one there. And gee, for those of us who've lived here a little bit, has anyone even talked to Mr. Seeler, who owns the plaza? If you thought Willow Ponds was concerning, frankly, this is worse. If your ZBA votes to approve this, you unfortunately are assuming ownership and outcome, not just procedurally, but ethically, legally, morally, and politically. We have nothing against Chick-fil-A. We welcome economic development when it's aligned to community safety and values, but there are cheaper, safer, and more appropriate locations right here in Penfield.
Thank you. Who's next, Amy?
Anthony Perone.
How you doing?
Good evening. My name is Anthony Perone. I live at 1935 Dublin Road. In a March 27th post to the town website, the supervisor announced his interest in a temporary moratorium on new development east of Route 250 outside of the mixed-use development area. I applaud this notion and offer my kudos on the courage demonstrated by expressing support for such a bold and potentially fraught course of action. In fact, I'm so in favor of the idea of such a moratorium, affording us the breathing room necessary to examine the town's big picture issues, that I propose a larger scope to this developmental pause than suggested in the supervisor's statement. I would personally support freezing new development throughout the entire town, thereby eliminating any possible misperception of bias, but even I have to admit that such a move seems politically infeasible. A better compromise would be to apply a moratorium not only on the mostly agricultural lands east of Route 250, the preservation of which was until recently of paramount importance to the town comprehensive plans, but to apply it as well to the entire Routes 250 and 441 corridors on all sides for any zoning where commercial or industrial uses are allowed. Importantly, it should be applied to developments currently under review. Whereas the east of 250 plan would regrettably omit all of the development proposals that Preserve Penfield has campaigned against, namely Costco, Chick-fil-A, and Willow Pond Ventures, as well as leaving out other controversial parcels on the west side of Route 250, such as the Arbors. What I propose would address the entirety of two of Penfield's most troubled thoroughfares. The intersection of these two roads and its surrounding area have been the subject of regional attention for their real and perceived hazards and are a source of constant consternation for residents. To address these ongoing issues, it's clear that we need time to reevaluate the processes by which our boards and staff review applications. And as the supervisor stated in his post, a timely example of the risks of not doing so comes from the March 14th zoning determination issued by the town in concurrence with the March 5th filing by Chick-fil-A. In it, the town determined that the more restrictive set of permissible uses imposed by an overlay zoning district, the TFOD, should be construed as a conflict with the underlying district, and therefore the town can set aside the overlay restrictions based on the supposed safety benefits offered by the developer's partial mitigation of an increased hazard that they themselves would create. Because the restricted use list is effectively the only effect of Town Code Section 250-63, Routes 441, 250 Overlay District, what we have here is the town effectively nullifying one of its own laws without any action of the legislature or judiciary. Regardless of one's opinions on the merits or drawbacks of the TFOD, this is a legal liability for the town. It substantially increases confusion for both residents and developers. The town's zoning determination letter, unequivocally agreeing with every point in the developer's argument, fails to demonstrate scrutiny or legal examination. Increasing confusion and foregoing oversight does not reflect the best interest of Penfield residents, both current and future. They do not make Penfield an even better place. For my part, I support the Routes 441, 250 Overlay District. Its stated intent sounds exactly like what we need more of in that area. To quote, "The primary intent in creating the 441, 250 Overlay District is to preserve the character of those residential properties surrounding commercial uses, enhance accessibility and convenience to commercial uses, lessen traffic congestion, and promote greater pedestrian and vehicular safety in the area. These objectives will be accomplished through coordinated access management and ensuring that commercial development remains localized in nature and is scaled to primarily service and support the needs of the residential areas surrounding it. Though more work is needed in clarifying how we will balance the needs of residents and businesses, we do already have some laws in place that do just that. We need only to enforce them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony, would you like to preside?
Fred Rinaldi.
Mr. Rinaldi? How you doing?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I am here in rare form presenting on behalf of an application that I don't have, and it's really by way of general principle. My name is Fred Rinaldi. I'm the landlord and manager of both Parkside Commons, which is at the northeast corner of 250 and 441, and the Platinum Office Park, which is directly across from the subject site by way of the prior two conversations. And what I wanted to do, as I'm learning more about the application, is provide some context, as I've had the joy of presenting to this very board since, Blockbuster was an anchor of my plaza, and it's over 22 years. And I've also had the privilege of living in the town of Penfield for almost a decade in Allens Creek Valley. My Wegmans is the 250, 441 Wegmans. My Starbucks is our new Starbucks. This is where my family enjoys service and your beautiful parks and an outstanding quality of life. And what an incredible proposition to apply certain standards to protect those very things. Real estate moves in a cycle, and Rochester has its own version of it. And when you watch trade areas like 250 and 441 evolve and service and absorb and receive awesome mixes of retail businesses and medical enterprise and other business categories, that is something that needs to be celebrated, but also in great consciousness taken advantage of, because the presence of these collections of businesses, retail, shops and services, and other things create certain expectations and quality of life for the residents of the town and the people who patron the trade areas, but most importantly, the composition of the town. I have been working very hard for the last 2.5 decades to pay great attention to the movement of our youth. And Penfield has one of the most spectacular compositions of families. And as was celebrated here earlier today, athletics and just an awesome opportunity to be outside. I mean, all the conversations that drive my quality of life have already been presented tonight, from biophilic focus and organic application of plantings and landscaping. It's exciting to see people champion those things and take the time to show up here. And my role tonight is to not apply any obscene endorsement of a specific thing, because I've worked with this town long enough to know that your professionals are spectacular, and you guys have the ability to make safe these applications. And I know between the parties involved that very thing will happen. What I am expressing is an incredible concern to look too tightly at the topic and not look at the larger imposition of this application, namely Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A just happens to be a retail business that is emblematic of other markets that our youth sees as important to them, as communities see as important to them. They now have the ability to see how people live all over the place, and they want to be there. And so we go out of our way to leave impressions, memories of these things that make them feel a certain way, that provide them access to things that everybody else has in other major markets. 215 and 441 have grown to, that the trade area has grown to outperform many other prime trade areas within Monroe County and Ontario County. And it is spectacular to have watched this happen over a certain period of time. And I have watched the traffic mitigations and improvements at 250 to 441 and up and down these arteries over many, many, many years. And I've watched the ability of this town to react and keep safe its community. The public-private interface that will be put into play by way of this application is something that I'm going to take a little credit for having introduced by way of Parkside Commons, where we're so excited to be so close to Harris Wayland Park, and we enjoy having increased the amount of services that interplay with it. And I'm excited that immediately adjacent to these properties that I've spent so much time with and have taken great responsibility in making purposeful to the community, that we have interest of these awesome businesses to come and join these trade areas. And I have spent a lot of time positioning and posturing a project like Parkside Commons to help provoke certain things. And it's a rare occurrence where you get the opportunity to watch naturally the interest of businesses that are watching the same things develop that I have had the privilege of over a pretty considerable period of time. And I wanted to lend the time that I've spent with this town to the community if there ever were questions as to my operations of the lands that I own and control in immediate vicinity to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Mark Allen.
Good evening.
How are you?
Hello, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mark Allen, and I am one of the owners of the property in question at 2051 Airport 9 Mile Point Road, the former Gymnastics Training Center. Alongside my business partners, we purchased this vacant site in November of 2022 with a clear and thoughtful goal of bringing new life to what was at that point an underutilized property in the heart of Penfield. I come before you not as a property owner, but also someone with deep roots in this community. I'm a proud graduate of Harris Hill, Bay Trail, Penfield High School. I was honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, Athletic Hall of Fame as a chief. And yes, my parents built a home on 21 Pond Valley Circle, where they and my two younger brothers had a 3-decade relationship with this beautiful community. For our vision with this site, my partners and I wanted to find a user who would transform the property into a vibrant, community-oriented destination. And we are fortunate that we have in Chick-fil-A a willing developer and operator for the town of Penfield. I believe their proposal does represent a responsible commitment to aligning with Penfield's motto of a town of planned progress. This would create jobs for the community, both full and part-time. The organization has a long-standing reputation of giving back through charitable partnerships and civic engagement, making it a business that I personally believe will be a long-time and lasting partner in addition to this community. We do fully recognize the traffic and safety concerns are top of mind for both this board and the neighbors that are here represented, and we take them seriously as the current owners of the building. This intersection, as you all well know, and the shared access point have experienced several serious accidents, including a major crash February 5th that sent 5 people to the hospital, another accident with a 3-car crash. One vehicle was on top of another, and these aren't isolated events. The site design addresses this by using the existing Plaza Drive shared with Don's Original and Penfield pub to avoid new traffic impacts on Fairport 9 Mile Point Road, consistent with the town's zoning principles. As part of the project, Chick-fil-A will invest and install a new traffic signal at a shared access point, no cost to the town of Penfield, to directly improve safety. This signal will significantly enhance both vehicular and pedestrian movement at the key intersection, and this project will not add any new curb cuts or access points on the road. My partners and I understand that some residents have raised concerns about development. We have been following this action over the last 6 to 9 months, and both in general development and specific to this site, we respect and welcome the dialogue. That said, I believe Penfield's a growing town of nearly 40,000 residents. Its future should reflect the needs of the broader community, not just those of a small opposition group. This project achieves multiple goals for the town of Penfield. It revitalizes a long vacant, blighted building that has been vandalized recently and frequently. Not something I like driving by, and I presume most here do not. It's purposeful, attractive, and community-based. And as someone whose life and career has been shaped by this town, I'm excited to support a project like this. And I respectfully request your support in moving this project forward. So I thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration this evening and over the last few months.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Mr.
Okay.
Supervisor, I'd like to say something, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to make a comment in regard to what has been said here tonight and in regard to the email I sent earlier today to the board. I want to make a brief statement regarding the way that development-related information has been shared or not shared with the board and the public. Over the past year, there's been a troubling pattern in which key decisions or updates are presented without prior discussion among the full board. In some cases, we're learning things at the same time as the residents, or even after a decision has already been communicated publicly. For example, the supervisor reportedly knew for months that Costco was considering development on Route 250, but the board was not informed until that situation had already escalated. At the meeting involving Willow Pond, the supervisor suddenly announced his own denial resolution with no advance board discussion or heads up. And just recently, a proposed development moratorium for East Penfield was posted to the town website without any prior board knowledge, review, or formal action. This kind of lack of transparency undermines proper representation for the residents and disrespects their election of us as board members. This is not how good government should function. I respectfully ask the supervisor to clarify what he currently knows about the status of the Costco proposal has officially been withdrawn. I also request that any significant interest in development, particularly along 250 or in East Penfield, be shared proactively with the board. Finally, if there's interest in exploring a true development moratorium, the board should take that up formally through a transparent process with legal grounding and with actual and clear intent. I would support a real conversation about that, whether it's focused on the 250 corridor, East Penfield, or both. It's clear that the residents want the entire board to be open, deliberative, and collaborative in shaping the future of our town, and we're absolutely obligated to honor that expectation.
Okay. I sort of caught your email a couple hours ago, but I don't think I'll have a back and forth. I don't know if I should just take it under public comment or not, but I'll say, just like any business that comes to town, whether it's Costco or, name the business, generally it comes to town staff ahead of time, and then they ask then they make a decision whether to move forward. So the Costco thing is not unusual, and there was no secret regarding that. And, the moratorium is something that has to go in front of the board. So it was just something that I've been listening to residents. It's something we should consider. What was the other one, Kevin? Sorry.
There's,
Go ahead.
I don't know, that, I think there's a lot that needs to be said there. Some of the facts, though, Kevin, I don't think are totally accurate. At the last work session, I do understand Jeff did ask the staff. He said he was listening to residents, and he did clearly change his mind and directed staff to prepare a resolution, but Jeff didn't present a resolution, right? Linda did. And so I think I don't know, but it's clear. It's clear you two are running against each other. And so if there is going to be a debate, I say you just schedule it. It's a legislative session. It's public participation, right? If you guys want to, there are things that you need to hash out or figure out your platforms, but for a ledge session, I would just ask for a point of order, and let's stick with the actual business at hand. And if there is no other public participation, I'd like to move on with the actual resolutions, please.
Okay, the one thing I'd like to say is that I have asked for some transparency before and did not get it, so.
That's,
I can probably, just to clarify one point about
Sure.
Costco. So my recollection is that they came into the planning board with a concept review, a sketch plan. That is actually not even an application. That's kind of this pre-application discussion with the planning board. I seem to recall that they withdrew that. And at the present time, I don't believe anything is pending with respect to Costco before the town board, or before any town board.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, you asked me that. I don't know. I mean, one thing I would just say is, just like Chick-fil-A, this is not in front of the town board, which is one of the reasons, there's a reason I don't go to planning boards and zoning boards, because there should be separation, so that, the ZBA is does their own thing, so does the planning board, and there's good reason for that, to have separation. But you a quick comment, Linda? Sure.
Yeah, I think the point is that we all represent this town. We were elected to represent this town.
Sure.
And going out, whether it's to Wegmans or to any business in this town, and people coming up to me asking me something that I have no idea of, but that you have posted on the town website that I had no clue of, that was forced to tell us because it was up on Facebook and rumors were flying. I think us asking for transparency for the past year now, I think, is the frustration that has come to be. And hearing residents coming up and talk about transparency and talking about the moratorium. If we're going to do something, then I'm hoping that's up in our next work session to talk about. But there is a level of frustration, and we're not getting answers behind closed doors. So, yeah, I applaud Kevin for bringing it up in front of open doors.
Okay. So with that, let's move to
I think there's another person that would like.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if there's anything else that wants to be said.
So I think Matt Lester? Yep. Yes.
Good evening, board members. My name is Matt Lester. I own 3 properties in the town of Penfield currently.
And Matt, can you just say your address, please?
I'll use the one for the Chick-fil-A application, 5021 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road. Mark Allen and myself and several other business folks own that property. Chick-fil-A made that application on their behalf as a purchaser. I'd just like to mention and clear up some of the accusations that are being said tonight by some of the council members. Supervisor Leenhouts is unaware of what the application for Costco is. going to be, because I am the applicant and I haven't shared with him what our plan is. So you're asking him to be transparent about something he doesn't know. So I couldn't sit back. It's not my place. I don't get into politics. But clearly, there's a lot of politics going on in this town. So to go on the record publicly, I'd like to say that he doesn't know. But there will be a new application put forward, and it will not be for Costco. So you'll find out Friday when the application is due. Typically when developers, I've been a developer and a real estate professional for 25 years, typically we reach out to the towns and ask for a work session. We talk to staff. We try to understand zoning, code. We try to put together a project that fits within the community. And we like to think that we present projects that benefit the community that we apply to. This whole process that I've undergone with this town over the last year is really frustrating. We've done projects in probably 30 different towns across upstate New York. This is a political agenda I have never seen. So I wish you guys luck. I hope you figure it out. I'm in the situation where we want to help a community thrive, and there's a political agenda with an organization and council members that is getting in the way of planned progress. So I appreciate your time. I really like Penfield. We've developed in this community Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Chipotle, Burger King, several other projects. We had a $200 million application that got scrutinized, and I'm really disappointed for the community that didn't get a chance to understand what opportunity that a small group squandered. But I hope it doesn't continue. I don't want to use up all my time. I just want to clear everyone's plate here and let them know that your supervisor doesn't know what our plan was because we never shared it with them. So we pulled our application and we went away because that's what an organization in your community wanted to happen. So 100 people might win, 40,000 are going to lose on that application. Hopefully it doesn't continue. Thank you.
Mr. Lesser, thank you for clarifying that point, but if I can please use this opportunity to also say that none of the board members we never had any custody of your application, no foreknowledge, and thank you for clearing it for Jeff, but again, for all of us, none of us had secret information or not being transparent. There was nothing in our possession.
That was what I implied. I didn't mean to single anyone out, but clearly, if he didn't know, none of you would know. In my opinion, I don't even know where that is coming from, but I don't think it's the right place for this, and hopefully that doesn't continue to be the theme of planning and zoning. But I wish everybody luck. Have a good night.
Thank you. And since I just got in that, did you get?
I have some more.
Go
Mel
ahead.
Callan.
Hi, Mel.
Mel Callan, 1410 Harris Road in Penfield. Webster address, but live in Penfield. Mine is just really clarification. I have no objection to Chick-fil-A. My kids have gone there. It's the location of where they want it. But I just have some questions because I'm a family nurse practitioner, so a lot of the work that you put into looking at the application and so forth, I don't need to know a lot of the details. I don't want to know. My question is, so it was because I came to the zoning board meeting and ready to ask questions, and all of a sudden there seemed to be an answer that it was already, I think, approved or something as far as the zoning board is concerned. And it's my understanding that the zoning board is allowed to make decisions outside of the town board if there are no exceptions to the application. it's my understanding that this particular, for Chick-fil-A, there were some exceptions that needed to be made. And so I think that's what I came to find out, because I am concerned about the traffic that it would provide for an in and out business, rather than just go in and sit down and come back out. But nevertheless, the process is my question. So exactly where that would be, how is the decision that the zoning board could make it without coming to the town board, given that there were some extraneous factors that it wasn't a clean application? That's my question. How are they able to make the decision when there seemed to be some variances that were needed for Chick-fil-A? That's what I don't understand.
Okay. So this isn't a back and forth, but you can make a statement, and so I
Okay,
can't.
so how do I get the
All
answers
you got
to
to do
that?
is email us. We're pretty accessible. So email supervisor@penfield.org. I don't know if I can answer that myself, but we'll try to answer it, sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
go
still need variances. I mean,
They still need variances. So I guess the first question is, was it approved already from the zoning board?
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't know.
As a supervisor, you don't know if it was approved or not?
If it's one of the zoning board of appeal, I have a lot going on, I got to tell you.
I know,
And
but
so
this,
I don't,
but this
I
is
leave-
really a
still pending before the
Yeah.
big
zoning
issue.
board.
It's still what?
Pending.
Okay, the decision about whether Chick-fil-A is going to go in that location, is that what's still pending?
I think it goes to zoning, maybe back to the planning board. Thanks, Mel.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else, Amy? I got one new email, but go ahead.
Okay, so I have Laura Payne Borsey again.
Okay.
I just want to make a quick point of clarification and record, a point of record. It's not 100 people. 1,700 people signed a petition regarding the Costco proposal in a matter of 3 weeks that we had to respond. It's not 100 people. And transparency, that moratorium is insulting. What you put out was insulting, Jeff. It conveniently left off everything your family owns. It conveniently left off everything that will become Chick-fil-A, or everything that will become what is to be the Costco, or whatever is to come on Friday. It conveniently left it all out. And unfortunately, whether it's fair or not, that makes people feel like they're not listened to, that people aren't taking them seriously. And unfortunately, that's a problem. That's a real problem.
Tony, make it quick. Sure. I mean,
I don't want to stir up anymore.
no, you're not stirring it up. It's just, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we kind of are. I'll be honest about it, right? We're making a lot of noise, and I know that's
Well, that's the
annoying for some folks. I wanted to offer, I think I understand the paperwork and the approval stuff for Chick-fil-A. I'm hoping maybe I can share it, and you can give me a nod or grimace at me to say whether or not I'm offbeat. The applicant had wanted to apply for conditional use, right? There's permissible uses for every zone, and then conditional uses, which need like an extra stamp of approval. That had been challenged because of the overlay district might not allow takeout restaurants. And so the issue of conditional use was tabled, as I understand it, and the applicant presented a request for a zoning determination, which is sort of separate from the application itself. They're just asking for clarification on zoning, which town staff is allowed to do, as I understand it. And so that zoning determination was issued. The applicant had asked for a determination to say, well, technically because Of these conditions, someone can rule that it's allowed as a conditional use under the underlying zoning, under the limited business zoning. And so that, as I understand it, that zoning determination was made according to what they had asked for. And so if that stands, that means that it will be able to be handled as a conditional use, which I think might actually go to the planning board. I'm fuzzy on which boards have which things. But essentially, the zoning determination says, no, yes, we will handle it as conditional use. And so it'll go forward under that heading, as I understand it. I know I'm supposed to address you guys, but I'm looking at council and the clerk, because you guys have the code kind of in mind.
I think that's generally true. I'm not going to comment on the specifics of it, but there was a zoning determination, and they still need to apply to the two boards. I think, they need site plan, they need a conditional use, and I believe they need some variances.
Yeah, there's still a lot.
There's still a lot
of work
more to go.
Yeah.
It's
We're at the
not-
beginning.
yeah, It's,
Right, yeah. I mean, it was only just in the fall that they did site plan review, right?
They have not done
they
site plan
haven't
review.
done
Oh,
it yet.
no? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's super early. I did want to ask about that zoning determination a little bit. We talk about information flowing in the town. I spent a lot of time trying to get information from the town, and my compliments to the clerk and the staff for just the work that goes into getting that information. The request for zoning determination was made on March 5th, and it was granted the determination was made and letter issued, had a stamp saying March 14th. And then those things were posted to the project's website, on the town website, I think on the 21st, the day before the last ZBA meeting. So there was a bit of a gap there between when things were filed and issued and when they were available to the public. Is that normal? Is that to be expected? Or would it be reasonable to say, hey, can we try and get that stuff presented sooner so that we have a chance to understand it before it gets, talked about in public? This isn't back and forth. I respect that. I guess I'll just put that question out into the ether so we can noodle on it. Thank you very much for extra time. I know this is beyond my original 5 minutes,
Yeah,
but
no,
I appreciate
good.
it.
You're good. I'll read. So we good, Amy? Any more?
Nothing.
Okay. I'll just read this last one, and then we'll kind of close this. Then I have one comment to make, but this is from, it's from Daria R.E., 1817 Baird Road. I've been a Penfield resident for 40 years. Moved to Penfield when our daughter was 2 years old. We love the town school system and in general, all that Penfield has to offer. As our daughter got older, I realized what a great move this was because it was the school system, their love of sports. As our daughter got older, I became involved with the Penfield business community. I saw potential for the business community. My professional side wanted to help Penfield grow. For the last 7 years, I'm proud to be part of the Penfield business community by becoming a member of the Penfield Business Chamber. I know firsthand how Penfield wants to grow their business community. I've worked with the town staff for that time. Their goal is to grow the community responsibly. We have a great opportunity to bring Chick-fil-A into the community. We all know the challenge of taking a left-hand turn on the Fairport 9 Mile Point Road, plus having that road improved, plus the opportunity for more of our younger people as well as any residents. A chance working there is an added plus. Penfield has a history of wanting to grow their community. Chick-fil-A is one more step in reaching that goal of growing our business base and creating a positive impact on the town. I have seen the Penfield Business Chamber membership grow from 140 members to 170 members within 3 years. Businesses want to be a part of our community. Let us see that, recognize that, and help Penfield grow its business community. Okay. All right, that's it. Yeah, I sleep well at night because I'm about as straight arrow as you can get, and I'm just going to make this comment, and then we're going to move on. And I've been biting my tongue, which is really difficult. You know, you can say almost anything to me, but when you constantly go after my family, it really rubs me bad, and it's been very consistent. Costco's moving next to my family that develops affordable housing. And I get that there's people out there, the NIMBY crowd, that doesn't want senior affordable in their backyard, and I think that's the point. And then we go to Willow Pond. This is not a back and forth. Then we go to Willow Pond, and it's Mark Ford did business with my family, which is crap. And I bumped into a family member, my sister. I don't know if that's actually accurate, and it could go way back. I have no idea. It's a small town. But this is political, and it's ridiculous. And I would never say anything negative, anything that is not true to anyone I'm running against. I mean, this political crap drives me crazy. It is hard in my first year trying to learn all I've learned in this past year. Yes, I came with development experience, financial experience. I thought I could help that with a town, offer consistency after 4 straight supervisors. So I'm trying my hardest. But this constant barrage, you know, the foiling of everything we do in this town is bogging down the staff. It costs a lot of money. You know, Allen's Creek stabilization, my family's project. And affordable housing is a little bit of a crisis in New York. It's a whole thing and I'm not directly involved in it. I was more involved in other things with the business at the time. But I just think it's wrong. And you can keep going at this, but yes, it's very political and it's ugly and I hate it. So I'm going to end there. Next item.
I just want to say, when it comes to the accusation that this is political, okay, yes, we are running against each other. It's a political climate, whatever. But there has been so many times where the board has been left out of information. And if you can't share it with the board, how's it going to get to the public? And that's my major point.
No, I'm with you. And Kevin, you're one of my favorites, I got to tell you. But I would say, at times, there's so much going on within the town, it's hard to share everything going on. There's no ill intent, there's no conspiracy, there's no whatever.
All right, I think you guys need to get like a drink after the meeting. I'd like to move to additions and deletions to agenda, please. I have 2 resolutions to add, Supervisor. It will be Resolution 25T-095 and 096, please.
And I think we have to move to get those?
I did. I just moved for the additions. Yes, thank you.
Second.
Okay. Next item is approval of the minutes for March 5th, the legislative meeting at the town board. Any additions? Any discussion? Can I have a move?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 5th.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay. Next, any petitions is our next item.
There's none.
All right, we'll go into the resolutions, and I'll give it to you, Amy. Law and Finance, I think, is the start.
Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a fence within a storm sewer easement at 15 Montgomery Glen Drive.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign agreement with Penfield Little League.
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
As written.
Moved as written. Thank you.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I know we just voted, but I so moved, and the only comment I wanted was that this is a 5-year contract with Penfield Little League.
5 ayes.
Thank you, sorry about that.
It's okay. And bear with me for 1 second here. State Environmental Equality Review Act, SEQRA, review and determination associated with the local law to amend Penfield Town Code, Chapter 90, animals.
Moved as written.
Second.
Vote, please, Amy.
Yep. Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes. Adopt a local law to amend Chapter 90 Animals of the Penfield Town Code.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to auction surplus cable TV and audio-video equipment.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
Moved as written.
Second.
I do want to explain that these contracts are specifically for our Independence Day celebrations, which include the fireworks for $20,000 and for Northeastern Production Systems, which provides the stage, the sound, the lighting, engineering, and crowd control barriers for Independence Day events for a fee of $8,200. And this year, we do have a rain date already scheduled for the fireworks, so hopefully we'll have a nice day on Saturday, but if not, then the rain date will be Sunday.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes. Renewing contract for printing program brochures.
Moved as written.
Second.
I do want to mention that these are for the brochures that go out for PenRec that we've all been getting for years, getting them several times a year, that anyone with children know when those things come in, you're looking for what are we going to do this summer, what are we going to do this fall. So this is a great piece of our community, a great piece of PenRec, and that's what this resolution is for payment of those brochures to be mailed out.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay,
Old business.
we have our new business items, yep.
Yep. Okay, no old business. New business, authorization to enter into a joint defense agreement with Penfield Schools related to 100 St. Camillus Way, Aaron Manor Management LLC tax certiorari proceedings.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to enter into an agreement with appraiser John Zakowski in accordance with the joint defense agreement with Penfield Schools related to 100 St. Camillus Way, Aaron Manor Management LLC tax certiorari proceedings.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes.
All right.
Get going on that one.
All right, so that concludes tonight's legislative meeting. Our next town board legislative meeting is May 7th, and I'll call this meeting adjourned at what do you got, Brian? 7:52. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.